again, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And, you know, it's been a crazy, crazy weekend. It was supposed to be a dead weekend because usually that's what happens the week before the Super Bowl. There's not much going on and all this other shit. But we had this whole Epstein file dump thing and this whole thing with this movie, The Odyssey, with this Kenyan broad being cast as Helen of Troy. Let me just get to the Epstein thing real quick because I'm going to cover it maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. The reason why I'm not particularly excited about this, as a lot of people are, and it's not because that it's not big news or horrible news, the names that are in there. It's the fact that I know, you know, the world knows, the people that were named in these files know nothing's going to come of this. No one's going to jail. No one's getting prosecuted. There won't be any justice for these girls who were raped, or these if these stories are true about these babies being mutilated. I hope they're there with God, but they will receive no justice. These things have been happening for thousands of years, and they just won't stop because there's a level of, I hate to use the word eliteness, but there's a level where people have so much power that they just become megalomaniacs and they think they could do anything they want. And unfortunately they can. And it's just something you're going to have to accept unless you go the other way. You assemble and you take these people out. Because let me tell you, there ain't a lot of them. And the people that were named in these files, the people that were named in this whole Epstein Odyssey thing, pardon the pun, are not the power brokers. They're not the apparatus that controls and pulls the strings of world events. They're not. These are like fourth, fifth level people. You know, everybody keeps talking about the Rothschilds and, you know, the Rockefellers. These guys are not even close to being as powerful as the people above them. If you really want to take a dive down the rabbit hole, go look at Venice. Go look at the families of Venice and what they did. You're not going to find it on Google. You're not going to find it in any history book. But the Venetians were people, and their rituals and their antics were beyond the pale. And again, people don't like to hear that some families in this peninsula called Italy had influence for a long time. That's done on purpose. Look into Venice. Start there, and that's where I'll go from there. From here. So anyway. The other news that came in, and it's kind of silly news, but it's what to expect from Hollyweird, is this Lupita Nyong'o will play, or is allegedly going to be playing, Helen of Troy in Christopher Nolan's movie Odyssey. Now, of course, Helen of Troy is considered a mythical figure. The Trojan War, it's been proven that there was major conflicts between the Greek states and the Trojans. That there were 8 Trojan cities, or 8 cities named Troy, literally built on top of each other. Whether the war was a 10-year odyssey, a 10-year conflict between the Greek states and Troy is one thing. Whether it was over some broad is another. However, if you ever read Homer's Iliad, and then, of course, the sequel, what this movie is based on, the Odyssey, they go into detail about Helen's look and her descriptions. I found here it is. I mean, it always comes out slow, but I'll read it to you. So here are the key descriptions from Homer in the Iliad and Odyssey. Helen is most famously called white-armed, smooth arms, a side of aristocratic leisure. Women of high status never were outside. They were always inside. avoiding sun-darkened skin. She had lovely hair or fair hair, indicating beautiful, well-groomed hair. Fair hair in those days, in that description, usually meant she had light hair, which would maybe be blonde or strawberry blonde or reddish blonde. She was long-robed or long-dressed, referring to elegant flowing garments. Other references include her as a beauteous Helen, brilliant young woman, having a goddess-like appearance. In one scene in the Iliad, Book 3, the Trojan elders remarked that no one could blame the Greeks and Trojans for fighting so long over someone who looked so strikingly like an immortal goddess in the face and appearance, but they wish she would leave. That's how she's described in Homer's text. What we see here is nothing of the sort. I mean, it's just Hollywood trying to piss you off. Now, everybody's saying Christopher Nolan, and I'll get to what Elon Musk said. Everybody's saying that Christopher Nolan is, he sold out, he did this, he did that. Let me tell you something about Christopher Nolan. He's just a director. I've worked on sets before, not sets like this. This is a $250 million production. But directors, the only way they can make a movie is if they have financiers who give them money to make that movie. And so a lot of times they have to compromise their vision to get that money. It happens. Very rarely do you have directors who don't have to do that. There are probably only a handful of directors today that can say to a Hollywood studio, no, I'm not casting this person as that character, or I'm not going in this direction. Scorsese's one of them. Tarantino's one. Is Christopher Nolan one of those guys? I don't think so. He's made some very good movies, some great movies. But, he's not... I wouldn't put him in the power league in Hollywood. Certainly not on the Scorsese Tarantino list. Absolutely not. So this was a Hollywood call. And you always ask yourself, or you should, why does Hollywood keep doing this? Well, they're stubborn. They feel that sooner or later, you're just going to accept this. Now, the way that you show them that you're not going to accept this is by not going to watch this movie, not spending your hard-earned money on seeing it. Now, this movie cost about $250 million to make, which, if you know how movies work, the promotion of this movie, the marketing, almost doubles the budget. So they will have to make, just to break even, $500 million, if not a little more. From what they're saying about the length of this movie, from what some insiders are talking about, this movie dragging out and being boring, and just this controversy, they're looking at a very uphill battle. I mean, am I going to go see it? No, I'm going to wait for it to be free on one of these streaming services, because I know what happened. I read the Odyssey. I read the Iliad and the Odyssey when I was in high school. I know what happened. And trust me, when I read about Helen of Troy, she didn't look like that. Nobody's fighting a war over this. I mean, it's a fucking Kenyan woman. I mean, get the area code right at least. But this is another slap in the face of Hollywood DEI. It's their ideology. And then they're never going to stop. Let me rephrase that. Let me take that back. They will stop when you stop. If this movie bombs, if this movie is a colossal bomb, a colossal failure, which it might be, it's headed that way. And there are a lot of Christopher Nolan fans who will go see any movie that he makes, but not enough to cover $500 million nut if the movie's not very good and it's already facing controversy. But let's say this movie bombs. There will be discussions about whether this was because of this casting here, because of their DEI ideology. And there will be filmmakers, mostly independent filmmakers, who will make movies outside of the Hollywood system. Thank God. Hopefully it comes soon. Who are going to follow their own vision. And you're going to see movies that are going to be all white casts, because if it's a white writer, white director, he's writing about white people. You write about what you know. Nolan read the Odyssey. I'm assuming he read the Odyssey. In no way, shape, or form, is there any description or character that is sub-Saharan African. Zero. Were they in North Africa? Yes, but there weren't any black people in North Africa, at least not enough to constitute a meaningful character. So Hollywood continues to try to rub it in your face and force feed this DEI shit on you. And, listen, look at this chick. This is certainly not the face that launched 1,000 ships. Let's be honest. You ain't sending your son to die for her. You would never send your son to die for any woman. Then none of them are worth it. But for that, no. Menelaus would probably thank Paris for stealing her away. But this girl is getting massacred online for her looks. They're talking about her face and her hair, and she doesn't match up. You look at the girl that portrayed her. What the hell was her name? Helen Kruger, I think, was her name. That girl was beautiful at one point. Here it is. This is the girl that portrayed Helen of Troy in the Troy movie in 2004, Helen Kruger. She was also in Inglourious Bastards. She's perfect looking. This is what people want to see. This is what sells tickets. Not the other way, not the other way around, not the way we showed you. I just don't get it. But anyway, Elon Musk got into the fray here, where he questioned Nolan's integrity, saying he has lost all of his integrity by casting this chick. And Elon, you go on Elon Musk's Twitter page or his X page, whatever you want to call it. When does this guy have time to build rockets? He's constantly on there. When is he working? His name came up in this Epstein dump too. It's crazy. And I think Epstein denied him access to the island in these emails. That's insane. But Elon, I don't know. His work ethic is kind of slacking right now. I know that they're shooting another rocket up into space. I don't know what the hell they're doing. But he wasn't happy about this either. And listen, again, this has nothing to do with Christopher Nolan. This has everything to do with the studios. The studios make these calls. And a controversial call like this does exactly what they want. It gives it legs. It gives it a story. People are going to be talking about the Odyssey. Now, controversy sometimes works against you, right? They always say there's no such thing as bad publicity. Sometimes there is. This is a $500 million gamble here. It may bite the studio in the ass if it fails. We'll see. We'll see July 17th. But again, totally silly and stupid. You gotta. Is it a cast of all white guys? I haven't seen it. I know that Matt Damon is in there, and I think the kid who played Spider-Man is also in there. I don't know. If it's a cast of 99% white people, and you have Helen of Troy in there. Now, in the Odyssey, of course, if you've read the Odyssey, there's only brief moments of when you hear about Helen of Troy. Most of them are in kind of like flashbacks almost. So her time on the screen could be literally 30 seconds. But you're talking about a character that has lived on for thousands upon thousands of years. And Hollywood and Netflix and all these big studios, they continue to try to re-race historical characters. Vikings are black, Romans are black, Greeks are black, Russians are black. It's outrageous. What are they trying to prove here? I don't know. Maybe it's our friends in the funny little hats that are just going insane with all this stuff. But again, that's going to be the story. I will get into the Epstein file stuff. They say it's about 3,000 files were dumped. There's rumors that there are almost 3 million emails and files and pictures and videos of these idiots running around, dancing around. It's just sickening and disturbing. It's terrible. But the worst part about that whole thing is that nothing will happen. And the fact that Donald Trump's name is in it and pictures of him are there over and over and over again. This presidency, this second term of his presidency, has been an unmitigated disaster. He has been an abominable failure. And he will cost whoever is running. The Democrats don't have anybody of worth running. I pray to sweet baby Jesus that we do not look at this J.D. Vance as the next president. He is as retarded as it gets, and we don't need a Vishnu in the White House. Enough. I mean, this guy is dressing up like Gandhi sometimes in these pictures that you see him in. All right, I'm ranting and raving. So there's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Remember, my friends, Satan is always busy. Be a man and have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And just remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. We'll see you later.